Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. Yes, we love our pets. And our pets, I like to say they're like people. They're like family. They have thoughts. They have messages. They have things that they're trying to tell you. Unfortunately, unless you've trained yourself, you're really not 100% sure what they're trying to say. She has been trained. She can also help you in many different aspects, either by training or just interpret what animals are saying. She's an animal communicator with Telling Tales, and Marianne McKiernan, our professional of the year, joins us once again. Welcome back. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How about you?
I'm well. And ever since we started talking, now I'm not trained, but I want to say that I listen in a different way to what my cats and my dog could be trying to communicate to me, if that makes sense. And I think I'm picking up, just vibes and maybe it's in my head, but I don't think it is. What do you hear from people?
I think it's true. You have a heart connection with your animal, so it makes perfect sense that you would hear them and understand what they're trying to tell you. You can interpret if they're jumping up and down that they want a drink of water, they want to go for a walk, they want to go outside, they want to play, the house is on fire. You can probably figure that out.
And they pick up on our energy too, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think everybody's had that experience where you don't feel good, you've got the flu or something, and your cat or your dog wants to be right there next to you on the bed and kind of nursing you back to health, or you're really sad and you're crying, and the dog or cat comes in and wants to be in your lap and kind of cuddle with you and comfort you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
universal.
I experienced that before the weekend, had a friend pass suddenly. We worked together, we're very close. And I just took my dog into town. I was like, I'm going for a walk. Side note, I don't take him out enough. And it's not for no other reason. I just don't acclimate him to people. And we go for a walk and I take him somewhere. They're playing some music and I sit down on the bench and he's on the ground. He just looks up at me and he just jumps up and he's next to me. So I'm like this with him, just taking it all in. And he was such a great dog. Like, sometimes I worry if he's going to start barking at another dog. He was great. I really, truly feel that he was picking up on how I was feeling. And it was just like, yeah, I gotta do this for my person, at that
He
time.
needs me right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always wondered this as an animal communicator, you're exposed to lots of animals. We really all are. You're taking the trash cans out, squirrel goes by, bird flies around, all of that. Are you hearing things from those animals? Are they telling you things? Can you shut it on, turn it off? How does that work?
Yeah. I would have to try and connect. So I don't just hear random things usually, but we have a lot of squirrels in our yard and I do talk to them in terms of, hey, if you're on the ground and my dog's out here, he's going to try and chase you. So I would advise you to get closer to that tree. Sometimes they'll say things to me like just short things. I'll see one and I'll say, hi, how are you? What's it like to be you? And I might get a little flash of their nest or something like that. But wild animals generally don't have a lot to say. I think elephants and whales and dolphins are kind of exceptions to that. But for me, wild animals are just more like, oh, hi, how are you?
Should you send a signal out? Throw a communication out. That squirrel that's sitting there and just kind of looking at you, or let's say, the other day I had a rabbit pass by me and I'm just like watching. And I even took a picture as he jumped, got a cool shot with his feet up in the air. But should we just vibe him out and say,
Sure.
that the squirrel, hey, how's it going? How's your
Yeah.
day? You need anything, whatever.
Yeah, it was one of the early exercises that I did when I was doing my apprenticeship is that we would start with any animal with what's it like to be you and asking them what their world was like and to send us information, however we got it, pictures, words, feelings. And that was always a great way to start a connection with an animal, especially one where you didn't have the person with that heart connection.
When you say heart connection, it's because you're you're connected with them as your animal.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting. So you have somebody with you today.
I do.
Yeah, introduce us.
Hi.
Hey there.
This is my client, Vicky, and she's been my client probably for maybe 10 years. And
Wow.
we started after her dog Moby had passed. He had cancer, and Vicky was understandably very sad. So we connected with Moby quite often and chatted with him. You want to add
Wow.
anything?
Yeah, no, Marianne's been great. It's especially when an animal makes their transition, as I say. It's so nice to have that animal communication talk. I did it almost immediately just to make sure he was okay, just to discuss, how was his transition. And it's so great once they get into the spirit world to be able to still have that communication with them.
And so we had a number of conversations that were fairly ordinary. How are you doing? Vicky would look for some advice maybe, or some help with an issue. Moby's always been very, very helpful. But one day I kept seeing giraffes, and I'm like, Moby, why are you showing me giraffes? And I asked Vicky, do giraffes mean anything to you? And she said, no, I like giraffes. But I was seeing him on a lawn with a giraffe. And so I remembered that there was a place called Giraffe Manor. So I went to get a book because I knew that the original people had written a book about bringing the giraffes there. And there's a picture of a black dog on the lawn. And I said, Moby, is that you? And he said, yes. So of course, immediately I sent the book to Vicky, told her, you've got to look at this. So she did, and she said, he looks like Moby. His name was
Shirley. It was a female. So
Yeah.
Moby was a female in that life, and his name was Shirley Brown.
Yeah. But
Wow.
So we looked in this book, and I said, well, show me the inside. So he showed me the inside of Giraffe Manor. And this was before I got in the book. So I saw like a sitting room and a hallway. And when I looked in the book, there were pictures of those places. So it was very odd.
And simultaneously, I was interested in visiting Africa. I had a friend there who said, we're going to be moving back to Ireland. If you're going to visit now. So all these messages are coming.
So she says, okay, I'm going to go visit Giraffe Manor.
Right. Now, Giraffe Manor is very, very, very difficult to get into. There's about a 1 to 2 year, I think 1.5 to 2 year plus waiting list. So then we had another call. And again, simultaneously, I confirmed that, okay, I'm going to go at the beginning of August. This is 2017. And we did another call to check in on just other things. And Marianne, before the call, said, Vicky, I don't know what this means, but Moby sent me to this website. I'll email it to you. So she emailed it to me. We did our call. It was a travel agency based in Colorado. And when I called them, they specialize in Kenya, which is where Giraffe Manor is. And they said, oh, Vicky, it's really hard to get in there. I don't know. She called me like 2-3 days later and said, you're not going to believe it. We have an opening August 11th and August 12th. We never have an opening. I said, book it. And I went there.
Wow.
And Moby helped.
And when I got there, Steve, you have to sign a waiver. And they ask, where did you learn about us? How did you get in? How long ago did you book? Da, da, da. I said, I just booked my flight in May, 2.5 months ago. And he said, no, there's no way. There's no way that you got in. They said people wait 1.5 years, 2 years to get into this place. And when I was there, I always feel Moby, but I felt him. I immediately, the energy, the heart that we're talking about, it was like, whoa.
And I get all of that. I never knew that an animal could support you, like in this situation, by saying, hey, you got to book it. You're getting in. I'm pushing this message. Has that ever happened before, Marianne?
Yeah. And you just have to ask. My teacher, Terry, had a dog named Jake who loved working with all of her students. And we've discovered that Jake will help us with anything we need. He's particularly good with weather. So when I went to Indianapolis in April for the eclipse, they kept predicting that it was going to be pretty cloudy. And I was talking to Jake and saying, if you could just make it sunny for this part of the day so that we could totally see the eclipse, I'd be grateful. And he did.
So all you need to do, I don't want to minimize, all you need to do is,
Yeah, all you need to do is ask. It's
is
that
just ask.
simple.
And I think you need
Hmm.
to be open to it. You just have to be open, like receiving that information and accepting this is really a communication. There's energy fields, there's things going on that we can't see. And if you have that heart connection, you can feel it if you're open to it. You just it's amazing.
Can I share something with you?
Absolutely.
This is very recent. So remember I said I took a walk into town with my dog? There is a light pole in town, and there's a plaque on it dedicated to my aunt and my uncle. And when I was walking through town, and I never take my dog into town. I just don't. I just whatever. I haven't passed this light pole in forever. So I'm walking with him. It's almost as if he pulled me to the light pole. And then I said to him, yes, Tanner, that, pole was dedicated to, my aunt and my uncle. And I'm going to share this part, believe it if you want or not. I just vibed, my mom who passed away 5 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, mom, and when I ask for signs, she gives me signs. I'm here with Tanner, just let me know you're listening. I had this passing in my life. This is somebody who I did radio with for decades. Like she was like my sister. Like people thought we were married on the air, very successful in my life and my career. I go to a brewery, I sit down, get a beer, and there's somebody doing karaoke where people just pick out songs and they do, they sing a song. Sit down, Tanner. Remember I said he jumped up? He jumps up next to me. I'm holding him. The song "The Rose" comes on by Bette Midler. Came out in the
Oh,
early 80s.
yeah.
Rose is my mom's name.
Mm.
So I'm like, all right, coincidence. The next song that comes on is Donna Summer on the radio. So the person that passed
Was
I
on the
worked
radio.
was on the radio with me. 2 songs later, the song "Spirit of Radio" by the band Rush comes on. Some like 10-year-old kid wanted to sing it. He was fabulous. Like, oh my God, random, high-pitched voice. I'm just looking at my dog and Tanner. I'm like, I don't even question it anymore. I'm like, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I bring that up because I asked. I asked for a sign. I got it. And I believe something was just overwhelmingly telling me, you need to take a walk into town and bring him. Again, I never take him. and I think that synergy was all there, that it's almost as if he was saying, yeah, we got to go. This is what we're going to do. You're going to get a sign. And that was just a wonderful day,
Yeah.
challenging in the grief part of it. But, him and the messages and everything, ask. You'll get it. You got to be open to it. Open to
Right.
it. Like, what if you got that sign, Vicky, and you didn't act on it?
Right. How
right?
much would I have missed? You would have
Right?
missed so much. Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And she still feels Moby. We were just talking
All
about
the
this.
time.
She says she feels him so strongly with her.
This
Yeah.
has crossed a bridge, if you will, from the communication of our animals now to our animals that have passed over,
Mhm.
which is very possible to do, as we're illustrating here, right?
Right.
I think when you have a soul connection, as I call it, and I do believe Moby and I were maybe together and we don't know. There's a soul connection that never, ever, ever. And I did not know we had it until he passed. Now I know there were things when I first met him, it was such a strong, but now when they pass over and it's still there, it's a strong, strong connection.
I get it.
It's almost like you can feel them sitting there with you. You can pet them. It's amazing.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
experienced it. I had a cat, Maestro, passed away same year as my mom, actually. And I rescued another cat a year and a half ago. It's Maestro. He's back. I might have shared it with you. It's him. I am
That's
convinced.
wonderful.
Orange Tabby acts the same way, just like
I love it.
massively sweet, maybe if not even sweeter. I believe he
Oh.
sent them because we needed him at the time. That's all I'm going to say. We needed him
Yeah.
at the time.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I have a friend who's an animal communicator who her brother-in-law was a police officer and died young in an accident. And he came back as the family's cat because he wanted to see his kids grow up. And she had chatted with him, and she was in my apprentice class. So we did one of our apprentice sessions chatting with him. And that's how we realized that he was her brother-in-law. She didn't, I think, know that until we did the chat. And he said, "Oh, yeah, I'm Tim, and I've come back because I want to see my kids grow up, and cats live longer than dogs. So I'm a cat."
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
How what are some of the other similarities in that situation that everybody wants validation, you know,
Right.
and you validate that story. Um, were there other signs that was him?
I believe she noticed things that were like the cat would sit in the same place that Steve always sat on the couch. Um, the cat, there was something with his hat from his uniform, and I don't remember if the cat knocked it off a hat tree or something like that, but it was like the cat was pointing at these things saying, "I'm back, I'm Tim." And so that was really good validation when we did the conversation.
Hmm. In all of this, Marianne, does it kind of blow you away sometimes when there is that validation?
Absolutely, all the time. So I haven't told you my wolf story. When I was an apprentice, we took a trip together. And one of the places we went was a wolf sanctuary out in Oregon. And it was amazing. They were Arctic wolves. So they're white and they've got gold eyes. They're just gorgeous. And so we visited with them there. We had a few conversations, nothing mind blowing, but really, really fun. And then the next day, Terry wanted to start with a meditation and connecting with the wolves again. And I kept hearing about, we have to be in our heart and out of our head. And so I asked the wolves, "Show me what it's like to really be in my heart. I want to know what that feeling is." And so they took me so deeply into my heart. It was like being on a tilt-a-whirl, that feeling where you're slammed back into it and you're spinning. And I burst into tears because the feeling of joy was so overwhelming. I couldn't process it. And I told him, "Okay, I get it. You got to stop. I can't manage this." And of course, all my other apprentice friends are standing there going, "Marianne, are you okay? What's happening? Why are you sobbing? What's going on?" And so I had to explain what had happened. But I carry that with me every time I do a consult. I start with talking to the wolves and saying, "Please take me into my heart," so that I can feel that and know that I'm really in my heart.
It's almost as if you're calling upon your spirit guides,
Mm-hmm.
who are the wolves for you, to duplicate that feeling so you know that it's that feeling.
Yes, yes. It was incredibly powerful. It's one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had.
That's fascinating. The
Yeah,
fact that you identified that feeling and how to bring that, duplicate it again.
right.
So it's like that's your baseline. That's your baseline for a reading.
Yep.
Wow. Vicky, you feel anything else with Moby from on a daily basis or every once in a while?
All the time. I call on Moby all the time. Sorry, I'm gonna cry. I guess
That means you're in your heart.
yeah. Whew. Yeah, I call on him all the time. He's kind of like my I don't know. He's just my love and my soul. So I'll just, if I need help or guidance, he's really my guide. I'll just ask him and I immediately kind of get an answer. It can be something as simple as, do I apply to this job? Do I move? Do I try to make this dream come true? It could be as simple as, is this going to be a safe trip for me and my daughter? Should I go, and I'll just get a feeling. And then I know he's looking out for me. So yeah, all the time. Sorry to cry.
Don't be sorry. And thank you for sharing that because I never thought of that. I vibe my mom. I get signs. They're very specific. I just gave you one. I could go on for 15 podcasts. It's just and I'm skeptical. They're specific. I never thought of asking an animal for a sign like that.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Yes.
Never.
You have to ask one of your former animals in spirit for a sign, or ask for help connecting with your friend who just died. Maybe she will send you a sign.
I'm going to do that. And it's funny you should say that, because she liked cats. I like cats. We ended every single radio show with, I give credit to everybody that was on the show, our producer, this person, that person, and I would end every single show. And Schmoogie, the 25-pound wonder cat, and you'd hear meow, and then we'd say, see you tomorrow. And he was my cat at the time. She loved him. She would make fun of him. He was legit 25 pounds. And he was an orange tabby as well. So now I'm 3 tabbies in, since him. But he was a part of her life. That being said, what you said, and both of you, that I should probably do that. I should probably,
Yes.
reach out to Schmoogie and say, hey, throw me something. What do you got?
Exactly.
And on Facebook, when I announced that she had passed, and kind of did a tribute and had some pictures up there, I even said, if you want to donate in her name, here's an animal rescue. And that's where I got my 2 cats now, because I know she would approve of it. And that was her thing. They used to call her the cat whisperer because she was so into cats. So I appreciate that. That's what I'm going to do,
Yeah.
but you have to be open to it. You have to, I don't want to say look for it, but just push away the noise so that you can hear it. Because our lives are so busy with, phones ringing, technology, 3 jobs, everything going on, that I believe we miss a lot that's coming to us specifically for us, because this other stuff is in the way.
Right. Exactly.
Hmm.
We'd
How
all
does
be
it-
better if we just made it all go away, like once a day for an hour, and just, relaxed and chatted with past animals or past people, or just concentrated on the beauty of nature.
Yeah. And that's why they call it meditation. And a lot of
Yes.
people say, well, I can't meditate. All it means is getting connected to yourself. That's about it.
And I think animals have that already, so that's why they're so, instinctual,
Yes.
in tune, because they have already done that. They're in that moment, whether
I
they're
say it,
scared or
Vicky, I say it all the time. When I learned about grounding and all of that, look at them. They don't have to worry about mortgage payments and drama and all that stuff.
yeah.
And they're always grounded because they've got 4 paws, typically, depending on your animal. Maybe it's, feet, whatever. They're always touching the ground, which is what we should be doing. Would be a touch a tree, or just walk in the earth with your shoes off, so you can get grounded and reconnected. How do we connect with you, Marianne? Somebody's got a question. Is maybe thinking about doing a communication reading.
My phone number is 303-757-6918. And my website is telling-tales.com, and it's telling-tails.com.
Awesome talking with both of you. Really, really appreciate it. Learned a
Thank you.
lot today, as I'm sure others have. And we'll talk again soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home.
that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.